$4. That is what a single bag of the stuff costs that the Amish have used for over 100 years to turn dirt into a lawn so thick you could lose a golf ball in it. $4. And you have probably walked right past it. Picture it. It is a Saturday morning in late spring. The coffee is hot. The air still has that cool edge to it. You step out onto the back porch in bare feet to look at your yard the way you do every weekend. And there it is again. The thin spots, the pale, washed-out green that never quite looks alive, the brown patches near the fence that you have reseeded 3 times now. You water it, you feed it, you spend your weekends on it, and it still looks tired. Here is who taught you to do it that way. The big box garden center, the bright yellow bags stacked head high near the front door, with a smiling lawn on the label and a 4-step program that conveniently needs you to come back and buy something new every 6 weeks. The floor associate in the apron who points you at the most expensive synthetic blend and tells you to apply it heavy. None of these people are evil, but not one of them makes a dime when your lawn finally fixes itself and stays fixed. And that is the part that wears you down, isn't it? It is not the work. You do not mind the work. It is that the work never ends. Every spring you start over. Every summer it browns out. Every fall you tell yourself next year will be different, and it never is. You are pouring time and money into a lawn that resets to 0 every 12 months. Most people try to fix this exactly backwards. They dump down more nitrogen than the grass can use. They cut the lawn short because it looks neat and they think they will mow less often. They water a little bit every single day. All 3 of those feel right. All 3 of those are quietly killing your lawn, and I am going to show you why beneath your feet, the very thing you are doing for it, is what is starving it. So here is what this video is going to do. I am going to break this into 2 completely different problems, because a thin lawn and a lawn that browns out in the heat are not the same enemy, even though they look the same from your porch. First, we deal with why your grass is thin, no matter how much you feed it. Then we deal with why it dies back the moment summer turns hard. And then, at the very end, I am going to give you the one Amish method that is the entire reason I made this video. It costs almost nothing. It does the work for you while you sleep. And I am not going to name it yet, because once you understand the first 2 problems, this last one is going to make a different kind of sense. But before any of that, let me ask you one thing. You believe that feeding your lawn makes it grow, right? Hold on to that thought, because by the end of this, you may decide that feeding your lawn the way you have been told is the single biggest reason it has never filled in. Part 1 is the thin lawn, the one you can see straight through to the soil. And we start here because this is the one that hurts every single weekend. You look at it, you feed it, you water it, and it just will not thicken up. So let me tell you what is actually happening down there. When your grass is thin, your instinct is to feed it. More fertilizer, more green, more growth. It feels logical. You spread a heavy dose of quick-release nitrogen, and for about 10 days it works. The blades shoot up, the color deepens, you feel like a genius. And then it fades, and you are right back where you started, reaching for the bag again. Here is the truth, that quick-release nitrogen is a sugar rush. It forces the plant to spend all its energy growing tall, green blades on top, while doing almost nothing for the roots underneath. And a lawn does not get thick from the top. It gets thick from the bottom, from the roots sending out runners and new shoots sideways. You have been feeding the part you can see and starving the part that actually does the work. That is why 2 weeks after every feeding, you are thin again. You did not grow a lawn. You rented some color. Now, here is the deeper problem, and this is the one nobody in the garden aisle will tell you. Your soil is almost certainly compacted. Years of mowing, walking, kids, dogs, and rain have pressed the top 4 inches of your soil down hard as a country road. Grass roots cannot push through compacted soil, and water just runs off the top. The Amish figured this out generations ago without a single soil test. They worked the ground first, then the seed. So let us fix it the simple way first. The cheapest thing you can do, and it costs you nothing but an afternoon, is to aerate. You want to pull plugs of soil out of the ground about 3 inches deep every 4 inches across the whole lawn. A manual core aerator costs around $30. A rented machine runs about $70 for the day. This opens up channels so air, water, and roots can finally move. Do this in early fall when the soil is soft, not in the dead heat of July. Next, and this is where the Amish way comes in, you top dress with compost. After you aerate, you spread a thin layer of finished compost over the whole lawn, no more than 1/4 of an inch, and you rake it down into those holes you just punched. That compost is alive. It is full of microbes that break down thatch, feed the roots slowly, and loosen the soil from the inside over the next several months. A yard of good compost costs around $40 and covers 1,000 square feet at that depth. That is the entire secret behind those impossibly thick farm lawns. Not chemicals, living soil, and then you overseed right on top while those aeration holes are still open. You scatter fresh seed at the rate on the bag, usually around 4 pounds per 1,000 square feet for a cool season grass, and those seeds drop into the holes where they make contact with bare soil and stay moist. That seed to soil contact is the whole game. Seed sitting on top of thatch will not sprout. Seed tucked into an aeration hole sprouts like clockwork. Now hear me clearly on what is at stake if you keep skipping this. If you keep feeding a compacted lawn without ever opening the soil, you will spend the next 10 springs reseeding the same bare patches, watching the same brown spots come back, throwing good seed onto hard ground where it bakes and blows away. You will spend $300 a year on bags of product and have nothing permanent to show for it. The thin lawn is not a feeding problem. It is a soil problem wearing a feeding problem's clothes, and the one prevention tip that ties it all together, the thing you can do this weekend, is to raise your mower blade, set it to 3 inches, maybe 3.5. Taller grass shades the soil, keeps it cool, holds moisture, and grows deeper roots. Cut it short and you expose the dirt to the sun, dry out the roots, and invite every weed seed in the neighborhood to move in. And look, if this is the kind of thing nobody ever tells you in the garden aisle, do me one small favor and tap subscribe. That is genuinely all this channel does. Plain, honest, old-fashioned lawn and garden truth that actually works with none of the upsell. One tap and you will not miss the next one. And if you want to go even deeper into the Amish methods behind all of this, I have something that will change the way you think about your yard for good. I put together a complete guide, actually 3 of them, called the Amish Lawn Guide, the Amish Soil Guide, and the Complete Amish Yard Field Edition. Everything you are hearing in this video, and a whole lot more that would take hours to cover here, is laid out step by step in plain language so you can work through it at your own pace, season by season. All 3 are available together for $97, and the link is right there in the description. If you have been spending that much every spring on bags that reset to 0, this is the last thing you will ever need to buy for your lawn. Now, back to the second half of the problem, because this is where most lawns actually fall apart. Part 2 is a completely different beast, because now we are not talking about a lawn that is thin. We are talking about a lawn that is thick and green in May and then turns the color of straw in the middle of summer, and that is a watering problem, not a soil problem, and the fix is the opposite of what you think. Here is the thesis, plain and simple. Most people water their lawn a little bit every day, but actually that daily watering is exactly what makes it die in the heat. Let me explain the mechanism, because once you see it, you will never water the same way again. When you water for 10 minutes every morning, the water only ever wets the top inch of soil. The grass is not stupid. It grows its roots up toward that water, into that top inch, because that is where the moisture is. So you end up with a lawn whose entire root system is sitting in the hottest, fastest drying layer of soil there is. Then one hot week comes, you miss 2 days, the top inch bakes dry, and your whole lawn collapses at once because every root it owns is in that dead zone. You did not grow a tough lawn. You grew a lawn addicted to you, with shallow roots that cannot survive a single hard week without you standing there with a hose. The catastrophic part is the timeline. Once a lawn browns out from heat stress like that in July, it does not bounce back in a few days. You are looking at 6 to 8 weeks of recovery, and that is if it recovers at all. Some of those crowns are dead, and dead crowns mean bare patches that you will be reseeding in the fall. One bad watering habit costs you the entire back half of your summer. So here is how you fix it, and I am going to give you 3 methods from the cheapest to the one a professional would reach for. Method 1 costs you nothing. You water deep and infrequent. Instead of 10 minutes every day, you water for 45 minutes twice a week, and you put down about 1 inch of water total across the whole week. That deep soak drives the moisture down 6 inches into the soil, and the roots chase it down there into the cool, stable layer that does not dry out in a single afternoon. Want to know how much you are putting down? Set out an empty tuna can on the grass while the sprinkler runs. When it has 1 inch of water in it, you are done. That tuna can is the cheapest, most accurate rain gauge you will ever own, and the Amish version of it has been a coffee tin in the garden for 100 years. Method 2 costs a few dollars and protects every drop you put down. You mulch your clippings back into the lawn and you keep that grass tall. When you mow it 3 inches and leave the fine clippings on the lawn instead of bagging them, those clippings break down within a week and act like a living blanket. They shade the soil surface, cut evaporation by as much as 20 to 30%, and feed nitrogen straight back into the ground as they decompose. People think clippings cause thatch. They do not. Clippings are mostly water and they vanish in days. You are throwing away free fertilizer and free shade every time you bag them. Method 3 is the one a serious grower reaches for when the heat is brutal and the rain just will not come, and it is still pure Amish thinking. You build the soil's ability to hold water before the drought ever arrives, and you do it with a top dressing of compost combined with a soaking of liquid molasses and water. Here is the mechanism. Plain blackstrap molasses, the same stuff that has been in farm kitchens forever, is loaded with sugar that feeds the microbes in your soil. You mix about 3 ounces of molasses into a gallon of water and spread it over a few hundred square feet, or run it through a hose end sprayer for a larger lawn. Those microbes multiply, they build what is called soil structure, and structured soil holds water like a sponge instead of letting it run off like a tabletop. A teaspoon of healthy soil can hold dramatically more water than the same soil that has been baked dead by years of synthetic salt fertilizer. This is the trick that lets a farm lawn stay green through a dry August on rainfall alone. And let me be very clear about how these 3 climb on each other. Method 1 changes when you water and costs nothing. Method 2 changes how you mow and saves you the bagging. Method 3 changes the soil itself so that one day you barely need to water at all. The deeper you go, the less the lawn needs you. That is the whole point. A great lawn is not one you fuss over every day. It is one you set up correctly so it can take care of itself. Part 3, prevention. And this is it. This is the one I sealed up at the very start, the entire reason I made this video. And now that you understand thin soil and shallow roots, it is going to land exactly the way it should. The single thing the Amish do that ties all of this together, the thing that prevents both the thin lawn and the summer burnout at the same time, is they top dress with compost once a year, every fall, like clockwork, forever. Here is why this one habit beats every bag in the store. That 1/4 inch of finished compost, raked in once a year, does 3 jobs at once. It feeds your grass slowly and steadily over months instead of in a 2-week sugar rush, so the roots grow deep instead of the blades growing fast. It feeds the soil microbes that loosen compaction from the inside, so water and roots keep moving down year after year. And it builds that sponge-like structure that holds moisture through the heat so your lawn stops collapsing every July. One material, one application, both problems solved at the root, literally. And here is the part your wallet will love. A yard of compost costs around $40 and covers 1,000 square feet. Compare that to the $200 to $300 a year you have been spending on a 4-step bag program that resets to 0 every spring. You are not just getting a better lawn. You are saving yourself well over $200 every single year, and you are buying back all those weekends you used to spend chasing brown patches with a hose. So which path is yours? If your lawn is thin and you can see soil through it, your problem is underneath you. So aerate this fall, top dress with that 1/4 inch of compost, and overseed into the open holes. If your lawn looks fine in spring but turns to straw in July, your problem is your watering, so stop the daily sprinkle. Soak it deep twice a week with the tuna can as your guide and leave your clippings down. And if you want the lawn your neighbors quietly stare at, the one that stays green when every other yard on the street goes brown, you do all of it, and then you make that fall compost top dressing a yearly ritual you never skip. Now, here is the new problem you are about to run into, and I would rather you hear it from me first. The moment your soil comes alive and your grass starts growing thick and deep the way it should, you are going to notice weeds trying to muscle in at the edges, and not the easy ones either. I am talking about the tough perennial weeds, the creeping clover, and the broadleaf invaders that try to grab any open ground before your new grass closes the canopy. Handle that wrong with the wrong spray at the wrong time, and you can set your whole reseed back to zero. So tell me where you stand. If you are already fighting that battle, drop a comment below and just type the word weeds, that one word, so I know how many of you need this next, because the very next video I am putting out walks through the exact Amish way to choke those weeds out using nothing but timing, density, and one cheap kitchen ingredient. No harsh chemicals anywhere near your kids or your dog. Type weeds in the comments, hit that subscribe button so it actually lands in your feed when it drops, and I will see you in the next one. And before you go, let me leave you with one more thing that the garden aisle will never put on a bright yellow bag, because there is no money in telling you this. The healthiest lawns in the country are not the ones that get the most product. They are the ones that get the most patience. The Amish did not build those thick, green, ankle-deep lawns by chasing a quick fix every 6 weeks. They built them by doing one honest thing each season and then trusting the soil to do its work while they slept, while they ate, while they lived their lives. So here is what I want you to do this week. Walk out onto your lawn one more time in your bare feet, the way you started this morning. Push your fingers down into the dirt at the edge of one of those thin spots. If it is hard, if it fights you, you just found your real problem, and now you know exactly how to fix it. Aerate it. Feed the soil, not just the blades. Water it deep and leave it alone in between. And come this fall, lay down that 1/4 inch of compost like it is a promise to next spring. Do that, and a year from now, you will be standing on grass so thick you really could lose a golf ball in it. $4. And a little patience. That is the whole secret. Now go put it to work. If you're still with me, you're my kind of gardener. Inside the Amish Garden Circle, I walk you through the complete soil amendment method, picking up right where this video stopped. And if you get stuck, you ask me your own question, and I answer you myself, a real person, not a machine. You won't be alone in there. Just point your phone's camera at the code on the screen, and you can cancel anytime. Now that your grass is growing thick and green, let's keep those stubborn weeds from creeping back in. I'll show you a simple Amish mix, just $3. That clears them naturally. It's starting right here.